Hi guys, I'm back again today. Finally, we're back. We have 12 reasons why I never wanted to live in the US again. So before we start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button. Let's get it.
Are you wondering if you should leave the United States before the next election? Are you tired of just being tired? Are you afraid of the direction the US is going in? Do you feel like you just no longer belong? Well, I left the United States almost 2 years ago and I have no intentions of going back. And in this video, we're going to discuss why. Like,
Let
why
me
would you want to
check.
live anywhere else? Isn't it dangerous there?
Sorry.
What about the healthcare? These are some of the examples of the questions and pushback I received when I said I wanted to move to the country of Panama. So let's dive into the 12 reasons why I never want to live in the United States of America again. And in no particular order, we're starting with patriotism. Patriotism is changing. America's number one. We're trained to say that and believe that in various aspects of our society, like as if the US is the center of the world. Let's listen to some of our sporting championships. The World Series, we only play ourselves. NFL, we're world champions. Again, we only play ourselves. Now, football, aka soccer, that's a world sport. Now, the World Cup, that's truly a global sport where you actually play other countries. You are a global champion. You are world champion. So, why is it frowned upon to speak negatively about the USA? Isn't that freedom of speech? But no, you're a bad American or you're unpatriotic for expressing your thoughts or having an opinion. There's just a growing trend where everyone just seems angry and wants to prove a point or be right all of the time. Gone are the days of people having rational, calm conversations for understanding. It used to be about unity, about standing together as a nation. But now it seems to be more about division, about drawing lines in the sand and picking sides. It's a heartbreaking shift to witness. And speaking of division, let's talk about politics. Politics is just getting uglier. I like to call it the divided states of America. Yep, you heard me correctly. The divided states of America. It's too extreme and it's getting out of hand. The labels, the attacks, the division, and the immaturity being displayed is ugly, and I'm wondering what rock bottom will look like. When did our political leadership turn into high school? It's so sad and embarrassing. The political landscape has turned into a war zone where compromise and understanding have been replaced with hostility and stubbornness. Instead of working together to find solution, it feels like we're just throwing punches just to throw them. America has changed. It's not what it used to be. It's not like how I was growing up, and I'm pretty sure every generation says that. Maybe it is what it used to be and it's just resurfacing. It feels like we're going back into time and not progressing. Kind of like it's trying to hold on to an identity that so many fought so hard to change. Histories are literally being erased and altered. So, looking at the news for the United States while living in Panama has me disgusted and in disbelief. Everyone seems so angry, on edge, and entitled. The energy is just different. Every time I land in the United States, I feel it instantly, and it's like I tense up, I'm on edge, and it's almost like you just feel the stress. When I step foot in the US, I'm already thinking about returning to Panama. And that's sad. Keeping up with the Joneses, the rat race, and the cost of living, the United States is a consumer economy and you are conditioned to make more and buy more. But for whom and to what detriment? Go to school, get a good job, get a house with a white picket fence, work until you're into your 60s, pay taxes until you die. How does that sound like a good dream to have? If I had to work until my mid 60s, I'd rather do it in a country that promotes like living life as opposed to a country that promotes work harder. Just work harder, work harder. Here in Panama, I was able to semi retire early. I quit my 9 to 5 job. My living expenses went down tremendously, and I'm just able to enjoy life. My lifestyle was upgraded. I mean, I couldn't afford this view in the US. America, once the beacon of hope and opportunity, no longer feels like the land it used to be. The dream seems tarnished and the promises feel empty. The rat race, the constant struggle to keep up with the Joneses, it's exhausting and it's just a life I no longer wanted to live anymore. The media. Whatever happened to ethical reporting and getting the facts straight before releasing a news story? When did newscasters start inserting their opinions instead of just reporting on what happened or doing their due diligence before reporting? It just seems as if people are more concerned with agendas and clicks than the truth and valid information. In general, media
Truth.
used to be a source of information, a way to stay informed. But now it feels like a battleground of opinions where facts are often lost in the noise, if there are even facts at all. Racism and extremism. So, both racism and extremism exist outside of the United States, but how they're expressed is very different. So, you can be killed in the United States for just being black. There are many people who have moved here who no longer have that fear or their threat over their head. Imagine that. There are several people who have said they'd rather raise their kids.
That's true though. Because it's rare for like other countries to be like, yo, you're this and that, and we will end you because you're this and that, right? It's more like, okay, you're this and that, woohoo, and that's it. It's like teasing, kind of a bullying, but not necessarily like racism to the extreme that you are unalived because of your different, right? That is crazy for a united country and for a country that is very diverse. Very, how do you call it? It's like the opposite of what is promoting, which is sad, really sad.
Here of Panama than in the United States because of the racism that they experience. It's just a stain on the fabric of our society that hasn't been cleaned and continues to spread. It's a step backward, a regression that's hard to fathom in this day and age. The fight for equality is still an uphill battle, and it's one that shouldn't be necessary, or people still have to struggle to deal.
Okay, me saying bullying doesn't mean like I'm pro it. I just realized that I wasn't sensitive about it. I meant like it's not good to bully either, but and also it can end to unalivement, but they don't, I don't know. I cannot justify actually. It's not justifiable either or.
deal with. This was a major one for me. My rights were being taken away. With the recent changes to women's rights, my health care and those of many other women was altered. So, this is not a debate or discussion on a woman's right to choose. I'm just giving examples of how my personal health care was altered and examples for those of the people that I love as well. So, before I moved to Panama, I went to various doctors to get routine checkups. I went to get a colonoscopy performed. Upon checking in, they asked me if I was pregnant, and I said no. They're like, okay, you have to take a pregnancy test. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to take the pregnancy test. I'm not going to be able to go to the bathroom because I literally stopped drinking that disgusting drink that you need to use for the colon prep, probably like around 3 o'clock in the morning because I was just over it. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to use the bathroom because I know my body. I asked if I could sign a waiver, and they said no. So they literally injected me with fluids for over an hour and a half. An hour and a half to see if they can get me to use the bathroom for this pregnancy.
Why didn't they? Okay, if you have a colonoscopy, right, and they want to be safe to check that you're not pregnant before they do the procedure, why didn't they ask you beforehand? Like before the date for the colonoscopy, like, hey, okay, now that you're here, you're setting up an appointment. Can we let you do a PP test so that you can figure out if you are preggers? Right? I'm so sorry. Just so, instead of like during that day they know the procedures, why didn't they tell you what you need before the procedure? Like they know you're female, right? Like what is happening, doctors over there?
Pregnancy test. They didn't believe what I said. I couldn't have a procedure performed that I wanted and needed until they can prove I wasn't pregnant. Do you know what that felt like? The doctor eventually came out to speak to me and asked me in person. And when I said for the 500th time that I wasn't, she then said I could sign a waiver. Why couldn't I just sign the waiver in the beginning? I also know someone who was sent to the ER because they were having seizures. They wouldn't help her with her seizures until they can prove she wasn't pregnant. How are you supposed to use the bathroom intentionally while you're having seizures? This doesn't make sense. Imagine if that happened to you or to one of your loved ones. When you're sent to the hospital or the ER, you're expecting to get care.
I feel like I know the reason why it's like that, though, because in the States, right, there's a lot of I'll sue you for this, sue, which we need actually. But because they're scared of getting sued for something wrong that they do, that's why they insist. So they would rather step aside and be like, nah, because if I do something and it's wrong, I'll get sued and I'll be baroque as fudge. So no, thank you. I feel like that's the reason why, right? Correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong. And also, if I'm wrong, let me know why is the reason why the doctors are like that over there. Over here, they would, I don't know, maybe like do a blood test instead if you don't want to, like if you cannot PP. Um, for the pregnancy test, or I don't know, or maybe they'll just be like before anything else. I don't know how they would, especially in the seizure. In her circumstance, I think she can do it before she goes for the colonoscopy. That's like easy deal to do. But for the seizure one, I don't know how they would know. I think they'll just help you somehow without affecting the probability of you being pregnant. Or they will just be like, are you pregnant? Or you say no, and they will just write it down. They'll let you sign it. Like, you told us you're not pregnant. You signed the waiver. So that's your problem. I think, yeah, that's how they're going to figure it out. Or do the, treatment.
So I just feel like a human with rights when it comes to my healthcare abroad. The healthcare system in the US seems to care more about insurance rather than what's best for the patient. How many of us have had a procedure performed or surgery that was covered by insurance, but the anesthesiologist wasn't? Make that make sense. Please, somebody make that make sense. How many Americans go bankrupt due to healthcare expenses? In the US, as the years progressed, I felt more like a number than a patient. Here in Panama, I feel like a patient again, where the doctors take their time, they personally follow up with you, and you aren't paying with your left foot and your right arm. I always wanted to live in another country. So I never
Okay, last pause of the day. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you like a reaction that I don't talk at all, or I talk a lot, I interact with the video that we're reacting to, or you want me to like copy paste my face and then that's it. Um, so what I was gonna say is I always complain about the clinics here in the Philippines because they're so long, the wait is so freaking long. But now I understand why it's long because they take their time with each patient. You don't just get like 5 minutes. It's like whatever it is that your problem is, you're consulting for, it's how long the consultation will take. They don't rush you and do all that. That's why they're long. The waiting is super long. Like I would go to like let's say an OB um at 9 and I'll finish at like 2 p.m. because of the wait. And I could stay with the OB for like an hour because she's like filling me up and stuff like that. Okay, that sounds weird. Like, she's touching and inserting and doing all her things. Um, so yeah, it takes a while, but I do understand now because before I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't be bothered. So, but I understand, and I'm very, very thankful now.
never felt like I actually belonged in the USA, and ever since college, I always wanted to live in another country. But I allowed my
She my
career
leg.
to defer that dream. So, for the first time in my life, I'm living in a predominantly black and brown country. And racially, I'm just no longer a minority. I wish as a society this wouldn't even matter, but we're just not there yet. But I will say I feel at home in Panama. The world is so large, and as Americans, we're trained to think that we have it the best, but we really don't. Living in a predominantly black and brown country was a new experience, but it was also a welcoming one. It's a chance to learn, to grow, and to see the world from a different perspective. I feel like there are two things that play into this: the amount of money that you need for retirement and keeping up with the Joneses. So the mere thought of having to work another 16 years until I can retire was literally the death of me. I just, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. People at my old job were literally counting down the days to retirement like it was it was their parole date. Like I have 3 years, 2 months, 2 weeks,
I have a
and
surprise
one
for you
day
guys at
and
the
a half an
end.
hour. Literally, everybody. What kind of environment is that? And why is that like, I don't even know what to say. In my hearts of hearts, I feel like there
Oh,
had
so
to have been a better
cute.
way, and I was not meant to live that way. I was spending money on numerous vacations, trying to escape and recharge from my job, when in all honesty, I could move to a country that people vacation in, and Panama, for numerous reasons, checked off that box. My quality of life has just increased tenfold since quitting my job, and I just don't feel like I was supposed to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. I was not meant to live in the rat race. I just don't feel like I was meant to work just to pay bills. What's the saying? You work to live or you live to work. Oh my gosh, food.
It's
One, I
live or
didn't realize
it's
how much of
live.
a foodie I was or am. I also didn't realize how much junk I was eating until I moved to Panama. It's like, wait, is this what food really tastes like without all of that crap being pumped into it like they do in the US? Fresh fruits, vegetables, and fish
Oh.
have done wonders for my health and my taste buds.
Oh.
Food just tastes better. You know what? I'm going to rephrase that. Food tastes like how it's supposed to. Like, who wants to live in a place where you constantly have to look over your shoulder, or every time you turn on the news, you see something about a mass shooting or people being murdered? Yes, murders happen everywhere, but the amount of mass shootings that Americans have become accustomed to or accepted, I just have no words for it. It's just not okay.
It's not
People
okay.
question how safe it is outside of the USA, but never look at how unsafe it is where they live because it's their new normal. How did we get here? Why is this okay?
If you say, "Oh, I'm from the Philippines," they'll be like, "Is it safe?" Check the stats. We are not even close to the dangerous countries. We're not close to the most dangerous countries. So thank you.
There are many people who have moved here who no longer have that fear or their threat over their head.
People
Imagine that.
just steal here, like just because we're poor.
I
So
left the United States
just be
of
careful with your
America and I'm not
phone,
going
your
back.
wallet.
It's a decision that wasn't easy to make, but it's one that feels right. Sometimes you just have to leave what's familiar to find where you truly belong, are accepted, and where you can find your peace. Pardon the interruption. Unlock a world of exclusive
Ooh.
content by becoming an Abroad Ability channel member. We are bringing you behind the scenes of life abroad with unscripted content that doesn't make it into the regular videos. Watch intimate glimpses into my daily life as an expat with cerebral palsy, including doctor's visits, ATM and bank runs, shopping, markets, holidays, and more. All recorded just for you. Welcome to the Abroad Ability membership family, and thanks to those who have already joined. See you soon behind the scenes of my life as an expat.
Oh, okay. This is
Wrap
a
this pun. Looking at
okay.
the oh,
I don't think we need to watch that. I mean, if you want to, you can watch it. Link in the description. The bloopers. So what I wanted to say, surprise. I don't know, my brain is not braining properly today, but if you're curious, if you're a guy and you're curious what the OBGYNs do, probably insert their fist in places they shouldn't be inserting. If not, they have this, it's like this, but longer, right? Probably this long, and they're like, "Boop," and you're like, ah, and then they just check you inside if need be. Most of the time, need be. So it's kind of like a camera, and then they're just like, doing you, without your consent most of the time. Um, and if, touching to check if for breast cancer and all that shenanigans, right? Yeah, and then asking you a lot of questions, like, and pressing down your stomach. Does it hurt? Oh my gosh. And then after that, they're like, bye. We just, you know, inserted something new and we're just gonna let you go like that, and you pay them for doing that. Like, are you okay? But yeah, that's for the curious mind like me, because I know I will be like, oh, curious. Like, if you have my brain, I'll be sitting there like, so what did they do? Like, tell me more. But anyways, beautiful peeps, if you notice, right, on nights like this, when it's dark outside, when I do reactions and you can't see the light coming from the curtains, it's late as fudge. And it means that I had a long day, but I wanted to do a video. And whenever I do late videos, my brain is just not functioning properly. So I'm just super extra or raw. So yeah, I'm gonna leave before I TMI. Anyways, beautiful peeps, thank you. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.